I'm Tracy Grimshaw. Welcome to a special edition of A Current Affair. Tonight, a world exclusive, the birth of Australia's miracle sisters. Hope and Faith share one body and one head with two faces. For doctors, this incredibly rare event is virtually uncharted waters, so the twins' future is unknown. But for their parents, Simon and Renee, and their already large family, Hope and Faith are keeping them all going.
You know, this is 3 parts science and 2 parts witchcraft.
Is that because these babies are so rare?
Yeah, so rare. They're so rare, and we're dealing with 2 partially duplicated brains.
Trying to be aware of what's going to happen or what could happen. I was scared.
I sort of went into a little bit of a shock because when she came out, there was no breathing.
I was waiting to hear a cry and I couldn't hear anything. Well, none of the doctors were really hopeful. We've had hope all along, so...
They're moving, they're making noises, they're having their little cry, so that's good, I'm happy.
I think they're beautiful, and Simon thinks they're beautiful, so really that's all that matters.
My heart is pounding. Oh, babies. Oh, my goodness. They're so tiny.
You can just see baby's head over here.
I went for my scheduled ultrasound appointment, and the sonographer there seen something was up and sent me straight back to my local GP. And my local GP sort of cut the news to us.
When we first met Simon, Howie and Renee Young, they'd just been given the news that Renee, already a mother of 7, was pregnant with twin girls. But these were no ordinary babies.
There was a conjoined in the vault of the skull, which they pretty much said it was a conjoined twin, they were thinking.
What did you think?
Shocked, confused, a little bit of everything really.
Did you get a more detailed description of how the baby was formed then?
And the face is actually duplicated and everything else, just the brain was normal. They actually have their own brain. 2 arms, 2 legs, the 1 body and the 1 heart beat.
It's called craniofacial duplication, or diprosopis, a form of conjoined twinning where the embryo fails to split in the early stages of pregnancy. Renee and Simon's babies have 2 legs, 2 arms, 1 body and all vital organs, including a strong beating heart. But there are 2 faces on 1 skull and an exact duplication of eyes, nose and mouth, and 2 brains connected with 1 brainstem. Diprosopis is so rare, only 35 cases have ever been recorded, and not one is alive today.
Well, whilst it's inside my belly, it's healthy, so the heartbeat's beautiful. The brain activity is good in both brains. So we can't sort of come to grips with not having it.
We sort of both looked at it as it'd be the same as bringing in a child with an autism or Down syndrome. I sort of don't really believe in terminating a baby if it's healthy and growing fine and everything's going to plan.
There would be doctors who would be watching you, thinking that it would be easier for you to say goodbye to your baby now than it would be to bring this baby into the world and watch it fight for 2 months and then say goodbye to it. What would you say to those people?
I would say if I only get 2 days with the baby, I only get 2 days with the baby. At least I have some time with that.
How do you prepare yourself for something like this, Renee?
I don't think you can be fully prepared, but we want its existence to be out there. It's going to be here and I want people to know about it. It does happen. It might be very rare, but it does happen.
Can you get down?
2 months later, Simon and Renee were busy preparing their small Western Sydney home for the girls. Scrapbooking ultrasound photos, collecting onesies, putting the cot together. There was certainly no signs of apprehension, doubt or uncertainty.
This is the dress Dakota come home in, and we plan on putting the girls in it when they come home.
Oh, that's beautiful, isn't it? That's a beautiful shot. You have to let them suck their thumbs. You have to let them. Look, they love it. At the 28-week ultrasound, serious developmental issues were starting to become clear to maternal fetal specialist Dr. Greg Kesby.
I think one of the biggest risks to this baby in terms of surviving is its ability to breathe on its own.
Are you saying that you don't have very high expectations for the baby after birth?
I've sort of had a fairly high expectation we'll get to live birth, but I think there's going to be a lot of challenges afterwards. I mean, if it's related to the way the brain's developed, and that's going to pose you lots of problems. I mean, if that is the reality, if the bub comes out and after a little while struggles, you've got to have that discussion with, you know, how far do you take things?
Are you two planning to have a discussion between you and make plans for various eventualities before it gets to that, or what?
I'd say
Yeah,
more likely
we'd have
yes.
to.
We would sit down and discuss it between ourselves, and then obviously, you know, we'd tell the children as well, as they're involved with everything. So, yeah.
But you haven't done that yet.
Not as yet. No, we're sort of
Trying to see how far we can get first. Oh, not so soon. I wasn't expecting it now. Oh my God, I got the shock of my life.
At just 32 weeks and 4 days, the time had come. Renee went into labour unexpectedly and dramatically. That was the day you'd been waiting for, but how did you feel when it came? Yeah.
a little bit early.
Were you a bit scared for the babies because it was happening so quickly, because you knew that they were going to need support?
Yeah, I was a bit anxious, like especially when the ambulance driver telling you on the phone, lay down the floor. We're expecting it's going to be a fast delivery, so it's like, I'll get blankets, towels, water. I'm like, oh, no, not here, no.
All I wanted to do was get to hospital and have an epidural for a Caesar.
Renee and Simon were rushed to Blacktown Hospital for an emergency caesarean. 2 hours and around 30 doctors and midwives later, a birth against all odds. This is the very first photo of Hope and Faith Howie. I believe that in those first few moments after they were born, that was a bit hairy. They didn't breathe.
Yeah, they managed to find the heartbeat, but the breathing was very, very shallow. And they weren't sure if they had breathing from both sides or it was one lung.
What were you like during that?
Very, very anxious. And I was starting to get pretty emotional, sitting at Renee's head and holding her hand, and I could see a glimpse of hope and faith. But with so many doctors around her, yeah, I was starting to get very anxious. Then I was given the good news that they were starting to breathe, to respond to air. Then we heard a bit of a whimper. I'm not sure which one it was from, but it put a little bit of ease, put me at ease a little bit to know that, okay, they're trying, they're fighting. So.
What did you think the first time you looked at their faces?
It was no different to me, but...
Very shell-shocked in a sense, but in another sense, well, I expected it. But they're my girls, so I love them to pieces.
Breathing on their own, Hope and Faith were transferred straight to Westmead Children's Hospital.
I said a little luck, a little bit of faith, a bit of hope. Hopefully they'll come out the other side. So as long as they're fighters and they keep fighting, everything will be okay.
Do you get excited just before you see Just them? 1 day old, these rarest of babies were doing so well, we were allowed to visit them at the neonatal intensive care unit. My heart is pounding. Oh my goodness. They're so tiny.
Just over 2 kilos.
Are we allowed to touch?
Yeah.
Oh, look, I love baby's feet. Hello, sweethearts. Hello, little girls. So beautiful. Long fingers. on toes. Beautiful girls. Oh, Bubby. No. Don't cry, darling. Well, that was her, the left foot I was touching. And so Faith must be more sort of aware of that side, I guess. So what do you think when you look at your girls?
Beautiful. I'm proud as punch. Just to see them actually make it this far, where all the odds were against us, to be honest. So, quite impressed and quite happy. So far, so good.
I think they're amazing.
And they're breathing without any assistance, and really, you know, you'd been led to believe that that probably wouldn't happen.
But they're little fighters, doing well.
Well, what are the doctors telling you about them?
Basically, they don't know.
Take it day by day sort of thing. Got a lot of other specialists in that are going to get involved just to work out how things are functioning with the brainstem, blood vessels, lungs, all that sort of thing. Make sure everything's in working order and what sort of quality of life and what track we're going to head down.
And what is the delay in the feeding? What have they explained to you about that?
We just spoke about that today. They just were wondering whether to do it through the tube.
Start on a formula.
Are they worried about them being able to actually feed? Because you don't want them to be breathing in at the same time as they're trying to swallow, do you?
Eat through both, I think they said, for the feeding, wouldn't
Oh, they'll feed them both at the same time. Okay.
But they like the dummy, not the farm, Tracy.
Are you being given good news or bad news about them?
We're still in unknown territory.
Just little steps?
Little steps.
Breathing on their own has already astounded them, so.
Yeah, they're quite amazed that they're actually happy at the moment. They're stable, so they're quite amazed themselves.
Do you want to know their middle names?
Yeah, I'd like to know what he's coming with.
Because you asked us to pick their middle names. Well, Steph, our producer, chose Daisy for Faith's middle name, and I chose Alice for Hope's middle name.
Alice is my grandma's middle name.
Oh, is it?
Done well.
Well, I chose Alice because I thought, you know, she's through the looking glass and everything's topsy-turvy. And Steph chose Daisy because it means eternal optimism.
That's pretty cool.
You happy with those names?
I'm happy, yeah.
Onward and upward. Let's see how they go.
See how they fight and keep going.
Little Aussies. Little battlers. They are little battlers. These babies have already defied the odds, and there is no doubt that they are loved. We will follow their progress.